thank you for everyone who is tuning in today. We have a exciting conversation that I think is always on the forefront of business, of marketing, of topic. When you're going to bed, you're scrolling. So social media really is a great platform for everyone to utilize, but I am grateful to be here with Giselle, Matthew Lionetti, and Matthew Kahn to discuss content creating and storytelling. I thought the three of these individuals not only own the social media space and are, thought leaders and spearheaders for us, but they also each individually have a unique niche in the social media world, whether it be tangible, strategic posting tips from Matthew and the luxury listings team. If you don't follow luxury listings and you love real estate porn, definitely give luxury listings a follow. It's my favorite account on social media. Giselle was named, top 100 people to follow on TikTok, and she has an exuding confidence in her posting and definitely shows how you can own being in front of a camera by also being yourself. And Matt is a crowd favorite here at the agency, but also in the real estate industry. He is a managing director of our Toronto West office, an agent, and he also is the host of the Overask podcast. If you need a good belly laugh or midday break, I definitely recommend giving Matt a follow because he serves the most entertaining content. So we're really excited today, and thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate your time. So to kind of kick off, I think, we start at a granular level, and I, create a social media account and I'm like, now what? And Matt, I kind of wanted to start with you because I think you have a really compelling story as to how you started out in social media and then, changed your path based off of, your feedback and what you were feeling and where you were and how it got you to where you are now. So if you kind of want to kick us off, I think that'd be a great start.
Yeah. So thanks for the wonderful intro. I thought I was your favorite Instagram page, but that's neither here nor there. We can talk about that offline. So I've been in for about 7 years now. Sounds like I'm in prison, but it's just real estate. But I've been in for 7 years, and about my first 3.5 years, I had like nothing going for me. And I was just doing what everyone told me to do because I was too scared to do anything else. And I had these comedy ideas from the minute I got into the industry. And I told them, like, I've done a bunch of them since, and everyone's like, yeah, it's funny, but you can't do that. Like, that's not how we run a business. No. So I was like, all right, whatever, I won't do it. And literally like 3 years went by of just being completely miserable. I was just thinking, I don't think this is for me at all. And I couldn't get anything going. I was so frustrated, and I was trying when you kind of overextend or over tried. So like in listing appointments, I needed the listing so bad that I was just like, please, like I felt like desperate at points. And then eventually I was on my way home from the office one day. I went to buy a spicy chicken meal at Wendy's. I got insufficient funds on my card. And and then I couldn't get home because I had no gas. I had to call my brother to transfer me $20 so I could get home. And I was like mortified on the way home. I was like, I don't think I can do it anymore. And then I was like, well, something was like keeping me in because I was kind of always the failure kid, and everyone told me I wouldn't amount to anything. I didn't want them to win. So on my drive home, I was like, no, I'm going to stay in a bit longer and I'm going to try something. And I went to social media, and it was just so much trial and error from there. I posted a video. It like crushed for me at the time. My one of my first listings from social media sold in 8 hours with 3 offers. And from that moment on, I was just so committed, and I was like, I'm not listening to anybody ever again. And I listened to Mackenzie. If Mackenzie tells me to do anything, I'll listen to her. But like most people, I don't listen to now. And I've just completely like paved my own way. And what I'm most proud of, I think, is I've just completely done it my way. I haven't compromised really at all. And I've done exactly what I've wanted to do since that day.
Were you, I feel like in, the feedback I hear from the field also, myself, like it can be intimidating to start being yourself on your social media, not these like staged photos or just your life highlight reel. were you intimidated to, stop doing kind of what the norm was or what you thought was expected and just being yourself in a creative way? Or did you feel like I had nothing to lose, I'm just going to go for it?
Yeah, I felt like I had nothing to lose, gonna go for it. And yeah, it was just a lot of people were talking then too. So like I was doing it and I felt good about doing it, but a lot of people were like messaging me and being like, Don't, this is dumb. You're ruining the real estate industry," stuff like that. A lot of people weren't getting it at the beginning, but I was just like, there's something in my mind. I was like, no, I think I've got something here. And because for everyone who was telling me that, I had a whole other group of people saying like, "Oh, you seem so genuine." And they were asking me questions. I was starting conversation, and that's all I'm trying to do on social media is start conversation.
And I'd like for, everyone to share how they got their niche or, where you could start exploring how you can exude your personality on the brand. But Matt, can you also share? So you had nothing to lose. I'm just going to go for it. And now you have this personality, this brand on social media. What has transformed in your business? Like what has benefited from you just taking that leap of faith?
Literally everything. I was doing no business. And I think the biggest thing that happened was the opportunity just across the board. Like, I've recently just been like, I'm in a book now. I have an the podcast that's fully monetized. I'm a keynote speaker that's monetized, with the talent brokerage, which Giselle runs. And, it's just like the opportunity overall. It hasn't just been like one thing. I've met so many incredible people, and I'm getting business, like real estate business, from literally just doing this. I'm just being myself on camera, and it's opened the opportunity to the speaking and the podcast. And now people are seeing all those things kind of combined, and it's making them want to reach out for real estate as well. And I've recently teamed up with an agent, Anna Oliver, and we have about, I think, 25 or $30 million worth of listings right now. And it's just like, we've just been like, it's just created so much opportunity. And I just can't stress it enough, because people don't see, they kind of just think, oh, it's social media, it's something fun. It's not like a real thing. We still got to do the basics, the cold calling, the door knocking, stuff like that, which I agree with, but it's such an asset to your business. And a lot of people just haven't figured out how to make it that asset yet.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Giselle. Matt, do you guys have any, niche tips or pro tips how to get, started owning your channels?
Yeah, I'll jump in there real quick as well. I think building off of Matt's point, I love the aspect of being like genuine and sincere and just like putting yourself out there. I find that through luxury listings, when we work with a lot of our clients, especially clients that have been in the real estate game or the industry for many, many years. Sometimes when we've been doing something day in, day out, we lose sight of the novelty and kind of like the uniqueness of our industry. And I'm sure many of you guys, when you're traveling or you're on a plane and someone says, "Hey, what do you do?" And you say, "I'm in real estate," or "I'm with the agency," immediately you see that person's eyes light up. "Oh, wow. Like I watched the show, I've done this," or "I am looking for real estate. Like I need help." Right. So I think what's really, great about what Matt said was, hey, by putting yourself out there, you don't necessarily know what you might receive, but when it comes to real estate, there's definitely needs for everyone, and that's a great place to start.
I think one point that I want to hone into is, you can communicate to someone 7 different ways, and they'll, regurgitate what you just shared, one of the 7 ways, and not implementing, social media into your marketing or listing strategy really is a loss, because as we all know, we're going to online first to find anything that we're doing, recipes, clothing, trips. Matthew, I think that something I, like to share and a humble brag for luxury listings, but you guys just started out as just this platform that showcases, the world's most beautiful listings, but you guys, because of the opportunity of showcasing it and the audience you've grown, you actually have sold a significant amount of real estate or been a part of that transaction. Do you want to share what that number is?
Yeah, I think that number is probably well in like the $400 million price point now. Full disclaimer, obviously we're not licensed agents ourselves, but through the properties that we've been able to showcase around the world, a lot of times it's really surprising, and it's still really fun for us when we get a DM or a comment or a message from somebody just through social media saying, hey, I'm interested in this property, because everyone is on their phone now. It doesn't matter who you are in the world. Everyone is on there at some period during the day. And compared to maybe some of the traditional marketing tools out there, like a magazine and brochure, that piece of marketing has to be in that person's hands at the right place at the right time. But with social, it's like you're inserting yourself throughout that person's day. And my last thing to add on to that was, what's cool about these videos that we put together, yes, they're simplified walkthrough videos, but it is very powerful because I'm a huge proponent of work smarter, not harder. So a lot of you guys are out there doing open houses, you're showing your beautiful properties. Well, guess what? You film it one time and now you have an open house tour that you can send to people, or people are coming on your page and watching without you having to be there for an hour.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Giselle, do you have anything to share with just, finding your niche or owning your presence in this space?
Absolutely. I mean, if you take a look at the three of us, all of us have completely different accounts and all of us have completely different objectives, but all of us are really clear about what those objectives are. And with that, it's not just a matter of what's going to get the most likes, what's going to get the most views, but what's actually going to convert into the community that we're wanting to attract. You have Matt, who's actually out there and he is, having listings that he's wanting to show and portray. And at the same time, he's selling himself as an agent, someone that people want to work with. And then you have our other Matthew, where it's that he is showing listings from all over the world. And for them, the niche is truly, it's the homes and it is the way that they portray those things. For me, it's positioning myself as an expert and as a speaker and trying to attract clients in that way. And so in that sense, all of us have different objectives and different personalities, and all of us are finding ways that it works for us. But what's most important, especially for those of you who are here in the chat, I believe the majority of you are out in the field and you're out trying to sell houses and attract new clients. You are a personal brand. Therefore, your niche is not real estate. Your niche is you. Real estate just happens to be an interest that you have, and all of you offer it in different ways. All of you are in different markets, and the temperature of your markets is different. And also the types of real estate that you sell, or maybe for you, you love to work with buyers. That's different. And so that's really awesome if, for example, your first-time home buying content gets tons of views, but if what you're wanting to do is attract more like $10 million listings, why don't we have any content towards that luxury home buyer? Why don't we have any content of you showing us what it's like to sell a home of that caliber, or you touring those types of properties? So for you, like, get really crystal clear. What are my objectives? Because otherwise, if you get lost in those metrics, like the likes and the views and the followers, I mean, I have some clients who we've been working together for months, or in some cases years, their follower count hasn't changed, but yet they can't even keep up with the amount of traffic that's coming in from the quality buyers that they're attracting, where their videos aren't going viral, but they're getting in front of the right people. So it's important to get really crystal clear about the story that you want to tell, and where do you actually want this platform to take you, because otherwise you're going to exhaust yourself throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying to be anything but yourself.
I love that. And I think one thing that you shared that was an aha moment for me, and I may fumble on this stat, but I think it recently came out, there's 9 agents for every one person buying or looking to buy. And to your point, it's so important to be who you are and be yourself and showcase that, because at the end of the day, we want to work with people we like. And maybe I'm not buying today, but if I'm following Matt and he's making me laugh, he's also sharing industry knowledge, trends, keeping me, he's now that my back of mind expert. So when I am ready to buy, I'm going to go to Matt, he's been there consistently. Do you have any, it's daunting when you say, what are your objectives? What if I don't know what my objectives are? How would I start, opening up a pen and paper and deciding what my objectives are? Do you have any tangible takeaways, or what someone could maybe sit down and do as an exercise to start with that?
Absolutely. And I want to gauge in the chat really quick, just look alive for a second. Give me a 0, 1, 2, or 3. 0 means you're so resistant to social media, you hate it for whatever reason, you just don't like it. 1 is you're on it, but you don't really post that much. 2 is you kind of post when you remember, but you're not consistent. 3, you're consistent, but you feel like maybe it's not working or you want to take things to the next level. I'm curious to know like where we're at with that. Okay, awesome. Appreciate your honesty. We got a lot of 3s. That's great. That's really, really good to hear. So as far as your objectives go, I mean, think about for you, like, wouldn't it be awesome if fill in the blank? Wouldn't it be awesome if? And go from there. Maybe it's, wouldn't it be awesome if it didn't take me 6 hours to shoot one reel? And by that, I don't mean like a super creative script of one, but like just putting yourself on stories. Or wouldn't it be awesome if I got $400 million in sales this year? Wouldn't it be awesome if I had a team of 5 versus if it was me all by myself? Wouldn't it be awesome if I was on a team that was really, really great? Wouldn't it be awesome if I got a lead that came in through my DMs? Wouldn't it be awesome if, and Matt, I love this. This is one of the things that you talk about on stage a lot, which is, wouldn't it be awesome if I actually liked my clients? Like I actually enjoyed the people who I'm working with. And versus just trying to desperately take every single thing and say yes. Wouldn't it be awesome if I didn't have to do listing presentations and people just brought the business to me because they felt like they knew me before they actually met me? And so again, like, your idea of success and my idea look very different, but just start writing some of those goals down. And then from there, you can maybe start to figure out what are the types of posts, content that might be able to attract those types of people. And I also think that it's important to recognize, like right now, there's this video going around. I don't know what her account is, but there was this very blonde realtor wearing like short shorts and walking a dog. And she was like, not all real estate agents are the same. Like, can yours do Shanae turns in a bright pink, whatever? And a lot of people are like, oh my God, who is this girl? Cringe. I promise you, there are people in the world who are going, oh my God, I love this person. She is my people. She's probably not for you, but that's also what's kind of fun is like, when you're attracting people you like, you're also repelling the ones that are not for you. And guess what? She made a video and she put herself out there and you're still sitting there making fun of her. So think about like, what are the things that you like, interests, hobbies, who are the people who you want to hang out with, enjoy hanging out with, and what type of content do you like to see to where you can make it your own? And that's, those are some little mindset starting points where you can hopefully begin.
I love what you said, and it inspires me. If I'm an agent and, I am committed to this industry, I want to grow my brand, but I also have, a huge passion for golf, say, how great would it be at, every hole for 18 holes on a Sunday, I'm giving like an update for a market or what properties are available. So I think like what you just said, you don't want to lose who you are. You could be the girl walking around with a dog because that's going to attract, the people who you want to work with. But I think too, you can incorporate your industry in a business in a captivating way that people are like, oh, and Mackenzie likes golf. I'm going to ask her to, come to our golf tournament or whatever. So I think owning real estate, portraying yourself as an expert, being knowledgeable about the content you're putting out, but also being creative in a fun way, like Matt, you making music videos and stuff, it doesn't have to be just you standing in front of a camera, reading like a reporter. So I think that was super inspiring. I kind of want to shift the conversation a little bit to strategies for growing your following. I know we kind of hit a lot of, creating meaningful content will grow your following. But is there any tips, tricks, pro tips that, increase your following, or you guys have seen like, oh my God, my engagement was crazy because of X, Y, and Z that you could share with the audience, even if it's an exact example or just general ways for people to just start practicing now? Giselle, do you have anything you can share?
So I was going to come at it with a little bit of a different angle, which is I actually think that especially in real estate, you should be thinking a lot about the people who don't follow you yet. Because a lot of the leads that you want, the clients that you want, they're going to come to your page and they don't want to leave any evidence that they were even there. So what you should be paying attention to instead of just your follower count Go look at your insights and see who saved your post, who shared your post, or maybe they tagged someone in the comments because they felt like someone needed to see what it was that you were posting. So think of it from the lens of, is this just to tell something about me? And that's fine. That's relationship building. We want to learn about you, but also, is this providing value in some way where someone would be able to align with it or identify with it or learn something from it? And so with that, like you mentioned, like, let's just use an example, the market update. One of my lines is, nobody gives a fuck about your market update. Instead, think about it from the lens of, okay, so we're thinking about who we want to work with. What from the market update actually matters to them? And can we put it in a language that they understand? So, okay, you have this many homes on the market and year over year, it's this. Okay, but like, what does that mean? Or you had this many price reductions in an area. What does that mean? Does that mean nobody wants to live there? Does that mean the agents there have no idea how to price a home and they don't know what they're doing? Like, does this mean I have a better chance of getting a home here? Does this mean that I have a worse chance? Like, think about it like that. And even when we're thinking about words, what are the words that they understand? When we're using things like inventory, sometimes even saying buyers and sellers, again, think about it from the lens that I don't know who you are. So like, what kind of a buyer? What kind of a seller? Instead, it's if you want to own a home, or if you want to buy a home, or looking for a home, like, be very specific. Things like equity, things like all of those different things, break it down into terms that they would understand so that they feel like you're answering the questions before they even ask it. And when in doubt, answer a question. Like, if you feel like, oh, I'm not as creative as Matt, I can't spit out bars like he can to Eminem and Drake, and, you know, I'm not that quote unquote creative. If you are, awesome. Like, he's so good at it. He, like, that makes him happy. Therefore, it works for him. That's not a natural thing for me. And granted, like, all of this is a little unnatural, but okay, what I know you can do is, I know you're good with people. Or you do a really good job at faking it. Otherwise, why would you choose a service-based industry profession? Which, you know, you can talk about that with your therapist if the answer is, I don't know. But for you, like, just think about, what are some of the questions that you get every single day? What are you answering and all the time? That's where you can start with like, how can I answer a question? How can I create value, make someone laugh, and let them know that I'm the expert of something? So those are just a couple of little pieces to think about.
I want to just say, if you're listening to this, there's 3 things that Giselle hit on that you should be writing down and utilizing immediately. 1, what does this mean? So not just reading the market update that was emailed to you, understanding how you're going to present it to your following, to a potential buyer, to a seller, your audience. That way it's regurgitated in an organic way and people feel like you really do know what you're talking about, and you're not just reading from a, you know, article that you uploaded and, you know, read real quick before you went on camera. 2, make your account a business account or a creator account so you can see your analytics. So if your account right now is just a generic Instagram account, you're unable to understand the A/B testing of this content you're putting out. So definitely switch to a professional account on Instagram. It's free. And then 3, do A/B testing. So while you're figuring out what your followers or non-followers are wanting to see on your page, you're able to see the performance of each type of video. And then you'll be able to start honing in to, you know, future creative ideas because of the engagement on the analytics. So that was amazing. Matt, I know you were going to share some stuff on that as well.
Yes, thank you. It's like holding my breath underwater. I need to talk sometimes. I'm horrible. No, I love this because Giselle, this is a perfect example of like how you can differ. So when Giselle was saying, focus on the people who aren't following you, I always say, focus on the people who are following you. So I love this because clearly, you know, we're both have captured an audience. And the reason I say that is because if you can focus on the followers you already have, those are the people who are going to share your content. And the people who share your content, that's like the ultimate social media referral, because it's getting shared by someone, you know, they're sharing it to their friends. So your piece of content is now being shared by their friend, and it's someone they trust that doesn't know you. So they're more likely to click on the content, actually watch the content, and want to like the content because their friend sent it to them. So there's a reason why they sent it to them. They know them, they like them, they trust them. So it's like, there's got to be a reason why this person sent me this content, and it makes it easier. And I've found I've grown a lot that way. I have shares, 20,000, 25,000 shares on a lot of videos, things like that. And that's where major growth happens. And I've just focused on that. Another thing Giselle said, was with taking kind of whatever, a market update, and making it more, I guess, digestible for everyone. So even today I did a video about staging. It's not out yet. This is an exclusive. It's a video about staging, and I'm just saying, like, it's very effective. I recommend all my sellers do it, but it's the biggest pain in the ass of all time. Like, living in a staged home is a fucking nightmare. And I think contrasting, stage it, do this, and showing knowledge, but also being real. Like, this is, it's not fun. It's going to help you sell your home, but it's not fun. I think people really appreciate that, and they find that I'm just being genuine and honest, and it's easier for them to reach out because I'm not putting myself on a pedestal or doing something like that where it seems like I'm kind of out of reach. So I always try and think about that when I'm creating content, especially when it's a bit more like knowledge based.
Yeah, I love that. I think one thing that would be great for us to explore, and you all, as we've noticed, run different types of Instagram accounts and have different types of objectives, like Giselle mentioned. But one question that gets asked a lot is the omnipresence of your brand. But I think I'd like to hone in more into the real estate side. So I get a listing. Matthew, I know you can kind of share how you and the team, own how to market a property, but what is the importance, or is it important, or how do I know what platforms to put it on? So I'm an agent, I just got a listing, I just filmed a video. What do I do now, or how often should I be posting to, keep up that engagement on my, marketing for my listing?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to add one thing to what Giselle and Matt talked about on the previous question. I think it's really unique where, on one hand, you're putting content out on your own page to stay top of mind with the people that already follow you. So like you mentioned, Mackenzie, that person may not be looking for real estate at this particular moment, but the content that Matt does, it gives someone a chuckle. And anytime they think in the future, I need real estate, you're nurturing your existing following. But at the same time, I think a lot of us sometimes are very concerned about, okay, what do I got to put on my content calendar? What kind of things do I need to film? It's all about, hey, your page. But Giselle touched on a point that is actually super important is, it's like fishing. If you don't cast the hook out there, nothing is going to come back if your rod is still on the dock. So we found a lot of success, and a lot of the referral, deals that we have found are from people that did not follow luxury listings before, but just came across one of our viral reels or videos or left a comment. A small tip that you can do is whatever your interest is. Let's say it's golf. So you're at a local golf course, or you play at a certain golf course. Chances are there's going to be people that are taking photos or tagging or uploading. Oh my gosh, I almost got a hole in one at this thing. So when you go on the golf course's account, you can go on their tag photos, and you can actually look through all the people that have tag that location. And it's a very easy way for you to just go down and drop a comment on that stranger's post and say, hey, that was an amazing shot. Wow, good for you. Chances are that person's going to get the notification. They're going to see it. And then they're going to say, oh, wow, it's really interesting. Like, I wonder why Giselle reached out to me. And then they come to your page and they're like, oh, she's actually a real estate agent. Oh, wow. Okay. That's perfect. I was in the market for something like that. So there's definitely, I think, dual benefits to both. That was just my 2 cents on the last question. But talking about omni-channel presence, I think that's really, really key. The caveat is, again, all these different social platforms have different uses and different ways that you can market it, right? So let's say a short form vertical IG reel might not do very well on LinkedIn, because people on LinkedIn are looking for something a little bit more of substance, right? They want to spend that 10 minutes reading an in-depth article, learning from experts, etc. But I think the easiest way to look at it is, hey, you're an agent, you put together a 3-minute video that you just paid your videographer for. Well, right off the bat, you should throw that up on YouTube, because that's long form content. YouTube is the second largest search engine optimization in the world, because it's owned by Google, right? So chances are people are looking for the address or the neighborhood, or looking for a certain home, the price point. That YouTube video can rank higher organically through the search algorithm. And then from there, you shouldn't just stop there. It's like, hey, how can I take that video? Maybe I can just crop it in a square format, and then I can already upload that on my IG. So by being on multiple platforms, I think there's an opportunity to like cross-pollinate your audience. And then in some of our trainings, we do talk about how, for example, hey, like Instagram and Facebook, you can embed the links, you can embed the URLs to your website or to your YouTube video. So those are very easy ways to just, again, cross-pollinate your social media traffic to other social platforms. And that way the cycle turns into a feedback loop.
Matt, Giselle, do you guys like focus on doing more of an omnipresent, or is there, a few accounts that you hone in on and let the other ones run their own show? How do you guys, run your accounts?
Giselle?
I will pop in here, happy to. Well, okay, I think there's two sides of this. One is the way that you're building your personal brand, and the other one I noticed in the chat were a couple of questions specific to listings. When it comes to your personal brand, I do believe that you should figure out a focus on, one platform, maybe max two, that you really want to understand the culture of that platform, build a community on that platform, be able to keep up on it. Because here's the thing, if you can hardly keep up with one platform, I'm not going to tell you to go do 5 and then get a watered down version of who you are. And so, I'm curious, even in the chat, put like, what's your favorite platform right now, or your favorite top 2 platforms? I'm just curious to know what you're using or what you enjoy. And then there's the other side of that, which is your listing. Should you put your listing everywhere? Well, your listing is like your Super Bowl every single time. You should be doing every single thing to market that listing, especially in 2023, in a world where, quite frankly, your people don't believe that you're necessary unless they already know you. And so you need to set yourself apart, and you should be everywhere, and you should be either doing it yourself or finding someone to make sure that not only are you posting in multiple places, but that you're posting that listing multiple times. You shouldn't just be sharing a listing once and go, okay, everyone knows about it now. Like that's not how it works. And so if you want something tactical, one of the ways that I advise clients when it comes to listings is I believe every listing should have at least 3 different types of posts. Or, if you have a Matt Leonetti brain, then you should have like a motion picture version that's amazing and awesome and creative and wonderful. But at the very least, basics. So 3 different types of posts. And what are those? One would be a 15 to 20 second teaser preview of what that looks like. You could put it vertically, and then that way you can post it to all the reels and the short form and whatever. It's just a little teaser. Let's just see it. And then also on your page, we can see the types of properties that you represent. 2 is I want to get a full length tour of that video completely uncut. Whether you upload that full length video to YouTube or to Facebook, Instagram's now allowing longer videos, so is TikTok, or maybe you upload it as a carousel and we get little, snippets of the different floors, the different rooms. And let me tell you why this is important, because not only is this great for the people who you want to attract to that listing, this is your audition for your next listing. If I see how you're presenting one property, that to me is going to show me, okay, what's this person actually like in person, and would I trust them with my property? And then the third is creating some wildcard content around that particular property, where it doesn't make sense if that listing is still on the market, or it still makes sense where that listing is still on the market or it's been sold. You could upload that post in January or July, but show me some features about that house. Show me, get you excited about it. Like one of the things that I joke about is that if I was a real estate agent, I would have a whole series on like luxury toilets and bathrooms, because nothing gets me more excited than like a Japanese toilet that greets you and says hello. So for me, it might be, or for you, it might be, oh my God, do you want to see the coolest toilet in all of Beverly Hills? Or do you want to see the most massive infinity pool in all of Toronto? Like just little pieces that again are showing me what you're like, and in person, you're showing your enthusiasm, and also you're showing your presence of the types of properties that you represent and yourself as an expert and knowledge creator that will be able to extend the shelf life of just that particular listing. Hope that was helpful.
Very. Matt?
That's a lot. I kind of forget what the original question was. Are we going to do reels too? I saw some questions here. I'm getting distracted by these questions in the chat. We'll do that at the end, right?
Yeah.
They want to know
Okay.
about omnipresence, Matt. So
Okay.
even for you, like people look at you and they're like, oh my God, he's on Instagram and he's also at a podcast and he's doing all these things.
Yeah.
Like you just came out of the womb and you were doing all of that stuff, right,
Yeah, it
Matt?
was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I came out with an iPhone in 91. It was actually it was brilliant. No, I focus most on Instagram, obviously. I think that's where it's the easiest way to get, you have like a little bit of everything. You have that virality of kind of TikTok, not as much, but I mean, once Reels came out, it really kind of, that was the kind of answer to TikTok. And there's a good chat in there too, so you can really like nurture those leads in there. Like I do um, a lot of my business starts in my DMs on Instagram. I think I do think you should focus on one, maybe two, like Giselle said, but it depends what kind of content you want to put out there. Like I always say, if you want to be hyper local, go YouTube. I think YouTube's the best for hyper local content. I have people I know, friends, 2,000 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and they are doing, an extra four, five, $600,000 worth of business just from that. So it's just really focusing, like, and not getting caught up. Like a lot of people are like, oh, how do you be funny like you? It's like, well, I mean, if you're asking that question, maybe that's not the content for you, right? Maybe you have something else. Maybe you're super bubbly or analytical. Like, figure out what works for you, and then I really do think there's like a platform for everything. Like TikTok, it's a lot of trend jacking, things like that. Maybe be there. Hyper local is YouTube. If you're boring as shit, LinkedIn, Instagram, I think is the best. I'm joking. If you like LinkedIn, it's fine. I just don't like it. I never popped off. Anything I don't pop off on, I immediately dismiss and hate. Yeah. But Instagram, I believe, is the most well-rounded, and Gary Vee would beg to differ, but I think it's the most well-rounded for what we do, or for what I do, at least.
I think there's a few points to be said. There obviously is the user familiarity with meta platforms just because they've been there forever and they're made simple to understand. I think one thing that Matthew, you shared that, as an agent, I want our agents and what we share at the agency, because we are a real estate brand. We're not a personality in a way that we have to focus on the listing, that, go into your filmings at your properties very intentional. What am I going to use this content for? And with everything that we get, it can be sliced and cut to hit every platform. And then, like Giselle said, you can own where you're popping off and then, sprinkle in more color. But for me, and what I encourage our agents to do, if you're already filming it, like, let's cut it vertical. Matthew, you and your team will convert our videos into cool reels that will go viral. So I think just making sure that if you're going into those listings, go in with a list of like, here's what I want to hit from this, because, coming prepared, that way you're able to execute. And then another thing I do want to share is you never know where your buyers are. So, Matt Linetti, you could be like, hey, LinkedIn just isn't for me, but I can say the agency, that's one of our highest engaging social media platforms. So I think going back to that A/B testing, and, maybe I prefer more blogger style and sharing my heart, and that's Facebook and LinkedIn, and, my followers enjoy that. But if I'm confident in front of camera, I think knowing how the platforms work and then knowing where your heart sits in all of it, you'll definitely see, a higher engagement and feel more comfortable using those platforms too. So I love that. Thank you.
Also, sorry, one more point that I just thought of. If you're filming kind of like that content across the board, like I tell a lot of people too, to film like a long form in 4K, so then you can make it vertical as well, so you can kind of put it on every platform. But when you're doing like a long form property tour, I always say have a couple hook questions. And hook questions are things that are really going to grab your attention for TikTok and Instagram. So it's like, check out this fucking washroom. That's not a question, but like something that like really hooks you.
Check out this fucking washroom.
Check out this fucking question mark. Yeah, but just something that like really grabs your attention. Like, holy shit! But like, kind of figure that out. And we do that on the podcast as well. We have we everything is completely organic, but we have a couple things written down where we're like, okay, this is going to be a great clip to ask this person this question, and then we can set it up properly. So Giselle, I heard your whatever, and it's just like we can set it up perfectly for that kind of content on Instagram, the short form.
I love that. I think, we are coming close to wrapping up. And one thing that I think is just so interesting, especially with everyone's lives being so different, but I would find benefit to understand, how do you guys plan, or, sit down on a Sunday and I'm posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or what does that look like for each of you? Or I'm hurting in content, I'm picking 4 hours on Thursday to film. How do you guys kind of structure how you run your social media business? Giselle, you can start.
Sure. So I have a type A personality, but a type B brain. What does that mean? My love language is not planning. In fact, planning gives me anxiety. And to map out a 30-day calendar, I can't do that, especially for my personal brand. So there are certain parameters that I've put around me, knowing that I'm an easily distracted individual who time management is not my strong suit. One of those things that I will do is I certainly will have some days where I will batch film content, meaning I'll film a lot of videos in one particular day. But then when it comes to actually posting, I'll have like my little folder of assortment to decide what am I in the mood to post on that particular day. The other thing that I think is really important to acknowledge is I don't post every single day. There was a time and place where I was posting 2, sometimes 3 times a day, but now every single platform is on this recommendation algorithm. What does that mean? That means that now your posts have a longer shelf life. I will have posts that might be 2, 3, sometimes even 6 weeks old that all of a sudden are waking up. And that didn't take any energy to me. I didn't pay for an ad. And so rather than your post expiring after 24, 48 hours, as long as people are engaging with it, people are going to see it. And we're seeing that on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook now too. And certainly TikTok was the sledgehammer that put it there. So what's kind of cool is that you can get even hyper local on Instagram and on Facebook, where it might see your content and the words and the captions of you being a real estate agent in Wayzata. Oh, that's so crazy. Matt's looking for lake houses on Lake Minnetonka. We should totally recommend Giselle's content to him. So that might give your mental health a little bit of a nice like hug of, you don't have to post every single day. I'll maybe post every 2 to 3 days. And I try to mix it up between that content that I batch shot and then whatever might be going on that week or whatever is on my mind or whatever is in my DMs. I try to keep that as authentic and organic as possible. And also I switch it up every now and then. Like what works for me now in this season might not work for me 3 months from now, might not reflect the algorithm that is Instagram now. And so I'm just grateful because I feel like it actually gives us a little bit of a break and some flexibility to allow some posts to breathe a little bit. And then stories, maybe 5 or 6 days a week, just connecting, showing my day, answering a question. And then I always try to take a little bit of time out of my day to comment on other people's posts, send direct messages, because yeah, you could send a text, but also if the algorithm sees that you're engaging with someone in the DMs, guess whose post is going to come recommended at the top of that person's feed the next time you post? You. So
I love that. Matt, before you guys answer kind of how you guys do your planning, I wanted to definitely spotlight what you just said. I think a lot of our agents, they're like, hey, my job is selling real estate. My job isn't an influencer. I don't have time for this. But I think making it as efficient as possible. So picking out one day, bringing different outfits, getting all of your filming done, and now you have a month of content. I think that's a really a digestible way to like get a lot of content, cut it different ways, and then you can, post to the mood or what's going on. One thing that you brought up that I would love everyone's opinion on, do you feel I've seen both and I'd love your opinion, professional content, a good camera, or are we thinking like pick up your phone and just post when you can? Is there benefits? What do you do? Should we do both? How do you guys feel like, people should approach their filming?
I'll go first. I do both. I do a lot of in your face selfie mode in my car rants, that kind of stuff. I think it's very relatable. It's very digestible. But I also do, like for my listings, I do very high quality videos. And I think it's important to have both. Like, he doesn't take himself too seriously. He's good. But when it comes down to like the home, like even though it's still wrapped and packaged in a funny manner, it's like you can tell like he does take these things seriously. And I think it's important for your audience, your potential clients to see both sides. I just think the phone has a bit of a realness, and even if you want to do all your stuff on your phone, like if you're doing market updates and stuff, it's really good now. Get a nice ring light, nice background, and you're like good to go.
Yeah, I love that. Matthew, Giselle, how do you guys feel like you're, capturing your content, or what do you suggest?
Yeah, I think there's benefits to both as well. We still live in that fine borderline of, if you're servicing some older clients, for some reason they just expect that you're going to sink $2,000 into a really nice listing video, to win that listing. So that's fine. You can do that to appease the client. But at the same time, if you look at it from every social media platform's perspective, they're all competing against each other for people's attention span. So every minute that you spend on Instagram means it's a minute off of TikTok, right? So at the end of the day, these platforms want to encourage content creators like every one of us on this call to be putting out more content. And if the barrier to entry is, I got to spend a bunch of money, I got to hire videographers, which not everyone can do, including a lot of these top influencers, they are just shooting off their iPhones, right? And these are people that have millions of followers. So I think the platforms as a whole, like when content creators are taking content curation into their own hands. And how you do that is obviously by having one of these newer cell phones, and they shoot in 4K quality. It's really crisp, it's nice. And then on the back end as well, when you're uploading these pieces of content, those meta tags do signal to the algorithms that, like, hey, this is where it was shot, how it was shot, what the quality is. And those can be a metrics factor on the back end. But yeah, even when it comes to like giving market updates, etc., I've seen a lot of agents get success of like preparing like a list of 10 different topics or questions. They set their iPhone up on a tripod or on a gimbal, and they're facing themselves with a nice backdrop, like what maybe Giselle has, and they're just talking through each point, and the whole thing is recorded so that it's almost like kind of like a brain dump. Then they watch back this 25-minute footage, and they're taking the sound bites and the nuggets of like, I sounded really smart talking about that section. I'm just going to save that 30, 45 second and then turn that into an audio clip, throw that on my IG reels, and boom, there's one piece of content. But in a 30-minute session, you might be able to spit out 5-6 different pieces of content that you can spread out over the next 2 weeks.
That's great.
I want to hit on what you said, Mackenzie, about but my job is to be a real estate agent, not a content creator. Yes, your job is to be a real estate agent, which is the ultimate connector and kind of like your city's original influencer. Like, you were the ones that had your face out there on, the billboard or the mailer or the email or the bus or the bathroom or whatever that is. And you're just lying to yourself if you don't think that there is a connection. And how cool if really your issue is time management, that you make a video and you post that video, and that one video, it doesn't take any additional energy for that video to be passed around 10 times, 60 times, 600,000 times. And you get to make eye contact with whoever sees that simultaneously and answer that question or tell that message, versus shaking that many hands, which as an extroverted introvert, would be overwhelming. So it's a time investment, but you end up getting a lot of time back if you're willing to do it. And if you're finding yourself continuing to put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off, that alone, all of that money left on the table might be your reasoning to hire a videographer, just so that you can get it done, just so that someone can do it well. And then thinking about it from the lens of, a lot of research nowadays shows that people have higher trust for that content that feels like it's made on their phone. However, you're also trying to attract luxury listings. So you want to be able to gain that trust of, here you are telling your client to maybe invest in things like Matt mentioned, staging earlier, or who knows, whatever types of repairs, fixer-ups, whatever to their home before it's on the market. And you're telling them that you are the best at marketing. Well, practice what you preach. So show yourself as an example. If I see that you're investing in your marketing, then I might then trust you more when you tell me to invest. So those are just some mindset shifts that might also help to get some light bulbs and some fire going.
I think that's great. And I also, Matthew, mistake having two Matts on the call. We'll never do that again. But Matthew Kahn said, one thing I want to spotlight as a quick takeaway too, is making sure that your phone is, at that, level of, what'd you say, Matt, 400K, setting your camera up to the highest quality. So then you are also getting good videos. And of course you're getting, cute pics of your kids and the dinner you just cooked. So, changing those settings in your camera to have, optimal filming. Matt, could you share what those settings are just for our followers?
Yeah. So I actually saw a comment about that as well. It's, every content that you shoot on your phone, you absolutely can like upload it. I think that was Karen's question. But there, depending on your iPhone generation, right? Some phones, the newer ones like 11, 12, 13, 14, those offer 4K resolution. Essentially, that's 4 times higher resolution than 1080p, right? So a lot of us have 1080p televisions, etc. Sometimes I think there's like a bit of a misnomer out there. It's not that you cannot post 4K, but when you post 4K, you got to make sure you're doing it on a solid internet connection. You can't be like in the middle of the woods and like, oh, I'm going to upload this 4K video. Sometimes as it's uploading into the cloud of Instagram, TikTok, it does render down the resolution, but you will see a lot of very nice 4K videos uploaded from people's phones. But again, if you're worried about storage and internet and you're on the fly and you're just, trying to upload something off your data network, 1080p is also perfect. We want to be shooting in full vertical format on your iPhones or Galaxy devices, whatever. And then you also want to be what we do for luxury listings is we love shooting in 0.5 zoom when it comes to real estate. Why? Because it makes everything larger than life. It gives people a much more of a broader fisheye perspective. And also if you are in the video and someone is shooting you, for some reason, I find that 0.5 just makes everyone, it's like a beauty filter. Everyone looks a little bit slimmer, taller, more handsome, or more beautiful. So 0.5, 1080p, or even 4K if you can shoot in that mode. And just try to use something other than your hand. So we recommend the DJI stabilizers. Those do help a lot, especially if you're filming a property, you're going a bunch of steps. You don't want to be holding your phone and then the whole video is just clunking up and down a bunch of stairs. That's a bit of a turn off for people, right? So
thank you. I love all of that. And I just want to, round this conversation out. We have a few minutes left, but it would be such a disservice to not talk about being healthy with social media. And Giselle, I know you are, a pro and can share some great tips or tricks or things that people should consider, with this being such an influence in their everyday. So I'm going to let you kind of touch on that for the group.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone needs to just understand that social media is a tool. Like if you call it a toxic place or a dumpster fire, understand that all of the algorithms in the feed are a reflection of what you yourself are consuming and spending the most time on. So if you don't like what you see, then you either need to get your feed right or get your head right. And I would challenge you to spend more time creating rather than just consuming, if that's all that you're doing, and really take into consideration how much time you're spending on social media, because is it really research, or at this point, do you just need to get your shit together and hit that record button and go? Because you can exhaust yourself into research thinking that you need to know everything about everything. But I can guarantee you every single person on this call, when we started, we did not know everything. It was not perfect. In fact, for me, and I think Matt would agree with him, like it was kind of a train wreck when we first started. And we didn't learn this in school. A lot of this didn't exist when we were in school. Like everything is on Google. So even some of the questions that we're getting in the chat about some of the tactical things, like you can look it up, and a lot of it, it's just a matter of practice, and the system is only as good as its user. But start following people who you actually enjoy, and you could go, I could see myself making content like that. Or I really like the way that person does something, because if it rubs you the wrong way, if it makes you cringe, or if you don't like it, then we're going to be able to see you trying to wear an outfit that doesn't fit inside of your content, and recognize that your following count is just as important as your follower. And by that, I don't mean like the number. It's like, who are you seeing when your feed opens up? Because if it is making you feel like shit, and if it is toxic, then let's find more people who are like you, nothing like you, in your industry, not in your industry, and get you excited to actually do this and make a commitment today. Like, what am I going to do, or what am I going to do differently? How am I going to apply it? And when? How, like, what am I going to commit to in terms of like how I want to start showing up online, and what are those meaningful metrics? And hopefully you'll get into your own personal groove, which is going to look different than the person who is next to you, and even the person who's working right alongside with you. And that is perfectly and more than okay. It's just another social gathering. If you think it's a highlight reel, if you think it's fake, then I would challenge you. Are you hanging out with fake people too? Are you stuck in your own highlight reel and irrational box of perfection? Like, start showing up as you.
I love that. Any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I do actually, if that's okay. Does the computer, do they just explode at 2 o'clock, or how does this work?
Computer
Bring us
explode.
home.
Can I go a
Bring
little
us
bit
home.
I'll bring us home.
Send us home.
No, what I would say is, like, when you look at me, like, I'm not special in any way. I know you all like, yeah, we fucking know, Matt, but I'm not at all like, I wasn't scared to take risks, and I wasn't scared to fail. And that's, I think, what all of us have done. We weren't scared to just like try. I think a lot of people are scared to, because they're concerned of what everyone else is going to say. I think you just really have to figure out what your thing is. Like, I'm a keynote speaker technically, but I'm a horrible speaker. I'm a really good storyteller. But if you get me up there to speak like about tactical things with like a screen behind me, I'll projectile vomit all over the place. I'm good at storytelling, and I figured that out early on. So now I can go speak around and people really resonate with it. But it's because I can tell a story. It's not because I'm very like technical and can do all this shit. But I will get a little technical just to end here, because people were asking about reels. I'll tell you exactly what I do with every one of my reels. When I have a video to post, and it's all going to come back down to the content, because I'm going to tell you exactly what gets me 400,000 or 500,000 views on some videos. Instagram doesn't like what we've found. They don't like when you share. Your first story is a share. So meaning like sharing your post to the story. You want to build up your story. So whenever I have a new video, like I have the staging one coming out, I'm going to say, I'm going to start a story of just like a plain text. I'm going to say, have you ever staged your home, or something like that? ? I'm going to build it up a little bit. Then I'm going to share my story. It's going to say new reel. Like Giselle said, I'm going to get into people's DMs after that. I'm going to message a couple people. I usually do that the morning of. I message a couple people, say, hey, what's up? I comment on some videos, because now they're going to see that. So now when I post the video, that stuff comes up into their feed, and whoever comments, I comment right away back for the first hour. I have my notifications on, and it's just like a text message. When I get a comment, I comment back right away. After about an hour or 2 hours, I go live. I go live for 5 minutes. I say, hey, I got a new video. Everyone who comes on your live, as soon as they get off, that post is going to come to the top of their feed as well. And then it's just like, you do that, and it really is the first kind of like 20 minutes of your post. That's when it's going to do the best. And like everyone was saying, these platforms want people to stay on the platform. So if your content, your video is doing that, they're going to push it out to more people, because that's all they want at the end of the day. They want people to stay on the platform. There we go.
That was a good final note. I'm sure everyone is,
I'm out of breath.
Taking notes on how to post their next video from you, the pro. Well, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in today. I want to thank our panelists for this conversation. It was such a cool conversation. I definitely had takeaways for me and the agency, and we're really grateful for your time. Next month, we have our new development panelists with top new developers from around the world, speaking towards how to represent new development, any new inventory that you should be aware of. So we're really excited for that conversation. So stay tuned. And of course, this video will be posted on YouTube, so you can go back, listen, and retake notes. And we just thank everyone for your time, and we will see you at our next ShaRE event. Have a great rest of your day.